Imagine being 12 years old, and the world already thinks they know who you are. The silence after a loss, the panic before a performance, the fear of being normal, not who you'll become. Who you are today, a star, a genius. Because once the world labels you a phantom, you don't get to be human anymore, a future legend. You didn't ask for this, but you can't give it back either. This is the part they never show you. Being a prodigy is the dream, until it isn't. You're not a kid. You're a brand. You're not learning. You're proving. Every game is a verdict. From the outside, prodigies are miracles. Childhood wrapped in brilliance. But on the inside, they're often just children in survival mode. What happens when your worth is measured in medals before you've even hit puberty? When you're 10 years old and losing feels like betrayal, when adults around you, parents, coaches, agents, media, aren't asking how you feel, but what's next? Sometimes by a parent who saw greatness, sometimes by a coach who saw dollar signs, sometimes by a system hungry for its next star. It never looks away. These are children being asked to perform like professionals, emotionally, mentally, physically. This is the truth behind the highlight reels. This is the dark side of being a prodigy. While other kids were learning how to ride bikes or climb trees, they were being trained, coached, branded. They didn't get childhoods. They got careers. Behind every prodigy is a decision that was made for them. And once the spotlight finds you, but here's the part no one talks about. You don't get to say, I don't want this anymore, because your dream stopped being yours the moment it became everyone else's expectation. He was 6 years old when they called him the next Messi. She was 9 when they said she'd break every record in the book, but no one ever asked if she wanted to, if he even understood what that meant. They lose birthdays, sleepovers, recess, friendships, not because they're arrogant, but because the world doesn't give prodigies time to be kids. By age 14, most have spent more time with trainers than with friends. And when your whole identity is built around winning, what's left when you lose? This is more than sacrifice. This is the slow erasure of self. At first, it feels like a compliment, a badge of honor. The world sees something special in you. But eventually, it becomes a cage. When you're labeled a prodigy, you're no longer allowed to be in progress. There's no room for mistakes, no room for doubt, just pressure, a pause, and silence. By the time Freddie Adu stepped onto an MLS field, the world had already made up its mind. He was the future. But when you're expected to be great before you're even grown, anything less than perfection feels like failure. And failure isn't just a stat on a box score. It's headlines. It's ridicule. It's a story rewritten in real time, from savior to bust. When the public builds you up as a phenomenon, they don't just want greatness. They expect it, endlessly. The moment you show weakness, they don't hesitate to pull you back down. Every tweet, every post, every missed shot, a referendum on your worth. You become more idea than individual. And the cruelest part, even when you win, it's not joy, it's relief. Relief that you didn't disappoint. Relief that you survived another day in the spotlight. This is when identity fractures. You start to believe that if you're not exceptional, no one tells prodigies that growth can feel like failure. You're nothing at all. You don't play to express yourself anymore. There's no space for transition. You play to avoid becoming a headline. Bodies change. Hormones shift. Injuries happen. But when your legend was built before puberty, people think your best days are already behind you. And you're still just a key to dip in form isn't seen as normal. It's seen as proof that the hype was wrong. You're not just competing against your peers anymore. You're competing against your younger self. That 12-year-old version of you who was unstoppable, fearless, magic. You're slower, tired, doubting every decision. The world told you that you were born for this. So why does it feel like you're falling apart now, at 17? Because your talent was never the full story. Maybe they were right, and I just ruined it. You needed time to grow, to evolve. But time isn't something prodigies are given. They don't care that you're confused. They don't care that you're changing. They just want the version of you they fell in love with, the kid who never missed. This is where doubt creeps in. Maybe I was never that good. Maybe they were wrong. Perfection becomes a prison. And when you fall short of it, even once, you feel like a fraud. This is imposter syndrome at its loudest. And the most dangerous thing, you start to believe it. The crowd stops cheering eventually. The cameras turn away. The spotlight moves on. And you're left asking the scariest question of all. Who am I without this? For prodigies, the applause starts before they even know who they are. And when it stops, There's nothing underneath because their identity was built entirely on performance. No one prepares them for the silence, for the awkward, empty space that comes when you're no longer the future. Some try to hang on longer than they should. Some disappear. Some spiral. Because if you were only ever praised for being great, what happens when you're just you? When the medals are packed away, when the spotlight is off, what's left? A lot of them never find out because they were never given a chance to become a person, just a product. They miss the messy, vital years where most people figure out who they are because while others were failing safely, making mistakes in private, they were judged publicly, brutally, repeatedly. Some break, some bend, a rare few rebuild, but none of them walk away untouched. Because the cost of early greatness isn't just pressure. It's identity loss. It's grief. It's waking up one day and realizing you don't know how to live outside the lines of expectation. Some don't make it. That's the part people skip over. The burnout, the breakdowns, the prodigies who disappeared before their stories were ever finished. But some survive. Not because they stayed on top, not because they met every expectation, but because they finally learned to let go of all of them. These aren't stories of weakness. They're stories of reclamation. Athletes who took back what fame tried to steal. The right to be human. I am not just my talent. I am not just my ranking. I am not just your expectations. Survival isn't about staying perfect. It's about staying alive. Mentally, emotionally, spiritually. It's about finding peace after the performance ends. The ones who survive learn something no medal can teach. That greatness means nothing if you lose yourself along the way to the world. They were prodigies, but now they're just people, and maybe, for the first time ever, that's enough.